I have no idea what it was. All I know it was under intelligent control.
The Rendlesham Forest Incident is one of the best documented UFO events in the world.
It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way. Pieces of it are shooting off. There is no doubt about it. This is weird.
It's kind of the British Roswell, as if the aliens have a lot of interest in our military facility.
As I got closer to the craft, the fabric of the craft where this color was running through.
Holt wrote an official memorandum to the UK Ministry of Defence.
The UFO apparently came down on almost like a tripod-like device, 3 landing struts.
Jim touched the glimpse symbol on the UFO.
He says, this is an official investigation right now. And he says, we're in charge of it, and this is the cover story. Interdimensional type craft, clearly us from the future.
I'm firmly convinced myself that yes, it was extraterrestrial.
In December 1980, Air Force officials thought they saw an airplane crash in the Rendlesham Forest. When they went to investigate, what they found changed their life forever. This incident is called British Roswell because it's one of the best documented UFO events in the world. Rendlesham Forest lies in Suffolk County between the military bases of Woodbridge and Bentwaters, basically in middle of nowhere. These were US military bases on British soil. Around 3 a.m. or 26 December, US Air Force Security Police at RAF Woodbridge observed unusual lights into the dark forest. So their first thought was it's a crashed aircraft. 3 men patrolled, including Staff Sergeant Jim Peniston and Airman First Class John Burroughs, were sent out through the east gate into the Rendlesham Forest to investigate. Everyone was like, brother, it's your day today. Go fight some aliens. Go. They saw not a crashed aircraft but a landed UFO. They say that they saw a strange glowing object with a metallic appearance, approx 2 to 3 meters wide at the base, 2 meters tall, and when they walked towards the UFO, they saw that the UFO had clearly come down as it has smashed branches of the trees, so there was physical evidence that was looked at by the officials afterwards. As they approached the UFO, it suddenly hovered, then maneuvered through the trees and flew away at incredible speed. Jim, who was an aircraft expert, said that it wasn't an aircraft, it was something else. The story doesn't end here. Of course, where's the fun if story ends here? 2 nights later, the Air Force people saw the UFO had returned. Late Colonel Charles Holt, the deputy base commander, decided to investigate in person. He gathered a small team and they carried equipment including radios, a radiation detector, and a cassette tape.
Out into the forest. I carried a tape recorder almost everywhere I went.
At first, he didn't see anything, so he decided to go to the landing site, which was reported by Jim and John. When they reached there, they found marking on the ground. They start taking samples from the ground and broken tree branches.
We find these 3 indentations. Then it gets very puzzling because we're getting radiation readings that are higher than background. Not dangerous, but much higher, especially in the indentations and on the side of the trees facing the 3 indentations.
They decided to run the radiation detector and found that radiation was significantly higher than the average background.
We get a high reading. What does that mean? We are getting an indication of a heat source coming out of that center spot. Looks like heat or some form of energy.
While taking radiation readings, the team saw a glowing red light appearing between the trees to the east. On tape, Holt can be heard describing a red light that looks like a red sun moving through the woods.
Small red light. You'll see maybe a quarter to half mile, maybe further out. I'm going to switch off it. The light is gone now. It was approximately 120 degrees from the site. Is it back again? Yes, sir. Everything else is just deathly calm. There is no doubt about it. There's some type of strange flashing red light ahead. It's yellow. I saw a yellow tinge in it too. Weird. It appears that you maybe move a little bit this way. It's brighter than it has been. It's coming this way. It is definitely coming this way.
as they approached, the red lights suddenly flew away at incredible speed, moving through the forest. Holt reported that it broke into multiple smaller white lights and vanished. Shortly after, the man noticed multiple star-like objects in the sky. One object even projected a narrow beam of light downward near the team's location inside the forest from time to time. Let's hear what Commander Holt said in an interview about this incident after he retired.
One of the party persons with me says, "Look over there. There's this reddish orange glowing object. It's sort of oval in shape, like a large basketball or beach ball. It has a dark center, and it's moving."
Okay, we're looking at the thing. We're probably about 200 to 300 yards away. It looks like an eye winking at you. It's still moving from side to side. And when you put the star scope on it, it sort of has a hollow center, right? Dark center. It's like a pupil of an eye looking at you and winking. And the flash is so bright to the star scope that it almost burns your eye.
I have no idea what it was. All I know it was under intelligent control.
2 weeks after the incidents, Holt wrote an official memorandum to the UK Ministry of Defence. He summarized the event titled Unexplained Lights. This one-page report, now known as Holt Memo, was dated 13 Jan 81. So this report is holy grail of this case, and it provides hard evidence, and this report supports claim of these officers. After the incident, some witnesses reported health issues due to nuclear radiation. In a declassified British government intelligence document of this UFO case, it said that these men were probably exposed to UAP radiation for longer than normal period of time. And on the basis of that, in 2015, John was granted disability benefits by the US Department of Veterans Affairs for an injury incurred in line of duty. That's strange, right? Everything so far was based on hard facts, but later Jim came out with a wild story which cannot be verified. According to Jim, he approached the aircraft and also claimed that he touched the glimpse symbol on the UFO and experienced telepathic communication in form of binary code from the aliens. But these elements were added later and were not part of his initial statement.
When I got to the part where I could actually see the writing on the craft, it was like glyphs. And it wasn't any writing that I've seen before. That's what they looked like. They stretched about 3 feet wide, and they're about 5 to 6 inches high.
Jim claimed that as they were approaching the lights, John stayed back, but he walked within feet of this craft. Big alien guy that Jim, huh? Both Jim's official witness report and that of officer he was in radio contact with during the incident described strange lights and a mechanical object, but everything he claimed was left out. His explanation is that he was ordered to change his story.
They came back in about 15-20 minutes, and my 4 pages on legal paper written out was probably typed out single line, was this big. And I said, "What's this?" And he said, "That's your statement." I read it, and it was just some generic thing saying I got within 50 feet of it. And I said, "Well, this isn't what I told you." He says, "This is what you're going to tell anybody that talks about it or asks you a question about it or anybody that you see about it." He says, "This is an official investigation right now." And he says, "We're in charge of it."
You know why I'm whispering? Because there's man in black. Man in black, ask him to change his report. None can verify his story, and decades later, after he retired and when he was no longer worried about his career, he came out with his story. One of his big claims is that when he touched the aircraft, he received some digital stuff like 1 and 0.
And then when I touched the top triangular one, there was a blast of light, a white light. I mean, I was blinded and stunned. So all I could see was white light. But during that, that's when I seen like digital stuff, like 1s and 0s and stuff like that.
According to him, he wrote all these codes in a notebook, and there was no forensic analysis done in terms of testing the notebook or the ink to verify that the binary codes were indeed written down at the time of incident in 1980. These binary codes can be translated through a computer, and once Jim's binary codes were put through the computer and the result came back that there was a translation. Firstly, there was few messages. Translation says exploration of humanity, continuous for planetary advance, eyes of your eyes, and origin year 8100. There were some coordinates of places on Earth like pyramids in Egypt, Nazca lines in Peru, and a non-existing island known as High Brazil. High Brazil is a mythical island talked about in many Irish myths. It was said to be hidden in mist except for one day every 7 years, when it became visible but still cannot be reached. The island has appeared on several maps from as early as 1300. I spent some time to find about this mythical island. I cannot find any evidence of this mythical island. In spite of great deal of research and controversy, the Rendlesham Forest Incident remain unsolved. To non-believers, the event is a misinterpretation of normal events fueled by Cold War tensions, or the light from the Offord Ness lighthouse were mistaken as UFO by the witnesses. This lighthouse was only 5 miles away from the military base. To believers, it is a solid case for potential alien contact with multiple trained witnesses, a ton of physical evidence, smashed tree branches, higher radiation, and landing spot on the ground. Whether you are a believer or non-believer, this incident will forever be associated with that one question: what really happened in those woods? I think we'll all agree to one thing, that this story is super weird. Now, this video is getting too long, so I'll be making part 2 for the second case. So comment below, what do you think really happened in the Rendlesham Forest, and subscribe to this channel to see part 2 of this video, where we will see some amazing facts about the Tehran UFO incident. This 1976 case is also super interesting because it involved multiple credible witnesses, including experienced fighter pilots, radar operators, thousands of eyewitnesses, but still very few people talk about it. I hope everyone join me for the part 2, and I'll see you in the next one.